Mm-hmm. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. There we go. Beauty. We'll shrink this down. Okay. Maybe we'll start at the beginning. You want to start at the beginning?
Sure.
Okay. And in the
Places,
beginning, there was the illusion of motion, just like the illusion of creation. All right. So, the illusion of motion. How do we attain an illusion of motion? An illusory motion. So, there's many different ways to do it. The first general idea is perceived motion. So, perception is based upon our memory, no? Yes, it is. It's
sounds about right.
Our memory builds into our concept of what is right now. So, if you're looking at these two images, one which is getting whited out and one which is okay, what is your feeling of that? Where do you feel like you are?
Like
On a road.
On a road. And what do we do on roads?
drive.
We drive. We walk. Okay. And because we have kind of this amplified perspective, which vanishes off into the distance, we associate both this idea that when we're on a road, we're walking or we're driving, with this idea that what we're seeing is disappearing to a vanishing point, and thereby we're headed towards that vanishing point. No?
Yep.
Okay. So we have this idea that we're kind of stopped in motion when we look at something like this. Okay. Stillness and arrested action, a moment frozen in time. We are aware of motion by context. It's exactly what we were just saying. All right. So we look at this Vermeer. We have the woman pouring the milk into whatever that vessel is. But we can see the stream of milk. We know very well that milk doesn't freeze in air like that unless we're in a science fiction movie or something. So we must be stopped in a moment in time. The woman is very much in this pose where she was, well, it looks kind of like she was moving, but I kind of like she wasn't too. She looks a bit stiff. Sorry, Vermeer. Kind of like this lady. She is intended to look like she is writing. However, whether she's writing or not, I don't know. It looks kind of stiff. She also looks sort of like she's looking down at a bug on the floor rather than, like looking at the viewer. So I don't know, but
she looks like the manager of the Dunkin' Donuts that I used to work at.
Well, that helps. I was just doing our order. Go away. Here we have The Gleaners, which, what was that book called? I just read a book where the woman is like a Japanese woman living
Memoirs
in
of a
America, and
Geisha?
she has to leave. What's that?
Memoirs of a Geisha?
No, it wasn't that. But she starts off at the beginning, and she gets this like letter that she has to leave her house to go and live in a camp, and she's like cleaning up the house before she leaves, and has to kill the dog and stuff. But she has to take a painting off of the wall because she's packing everything up, and she throws a print of the Gleaners away, which I was amused by. But anyway, these people are clearly stuck in the middle of their motion and toiling away. Unless you're like super into yoga, you're probably not staying in any of those positions for very long. No?
Be uncomfortable.
It would be relatively uncomfortable. Really stretches out the glutes, though. Here's another Gustav Keilbach. Gustav
Oh, what?
Keilbach, the guy that did the painting with the like bajillion different perspectives. That was the multi-point point of view.
I was wondering if you're going to share this one.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why that just thought to me. This one came to me first when I thought of movement.
No kidding. That's
Yeah.
cool. Anyway, these guys are clearly stuck in the middle of their floor stripping. I also love that they just have like a bottle of wine there, like chilling out. Like, let's strip a floor, drink some wine. We're French, whatever. Okay, so here we're clearly stuck in the middle of a battle. We have, if we think back to our ideas of lines, we have implied lines created by the view of the characters going up the left half of the mountain, and also an implied line created by the view of the fellows in the foxholes on the right hand side of the mountain. It all rises to a point, so the image is composed to be one gigantic triangle, right? So because it's this triangle, there's automatically movement to a triangle. We've talked about that before. And we're rising up both sides. So all of that motion is kind of put through a magnifying glass, and we're just feeling it all kind of rise up, and it's kind of creating that tension that we want somebody to feel if they're looking at a battle scene. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Thanks, Paris. Okay, slowing motion down. I'm not going to try to, like, do anything crazy here. We're literally just, like, taking, like, a snapshot of this moment in time and just, like, making it feel much slower than it actually is. So, obviously, a bullet is moving very fast, correcto?
Yep.
Yep. And we've cut it at exactly the moment when it's gone through this card and it's exploding out the other side. This is like the best example that I can think of slowing motion down. So I have a couple of them. I think this is probably like an anti-smoking ad, but it might just be a cool looking image. Okay, anticipated motion. This we get through that same sort of sense of kinesthetic empathy. We feel something that's not necessarily in the image. Okay? So, woman is running, the sun is rising. We know the woman is running because we can anticipate, well, our perception is somebody out early in the morning wearing these clothes is running. That's it's just our perception. And it's not wrong. It's not wrong. We also anticipate that woman bringing her other leg forward, right? She's not just going to stop freeze frame there for very long, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. This is like the Runner's World magazine advertisement. Once we're done with this lecture today, I expect all of you to go and subscribe to Runner's World. They're paying me off by subscriptions. I get like 10%. It's dope. So here we also can feel that the other woman's leg is going to come forward. We know based on human motion what she's going to do next. Alex Ovechkin. If you watch any hockey, you definitely know what's going to happen next. He's going to score, and the Islanders are going to weep. Anyway, because the stick is bent backwards like it is, we anticipate it snapping back into place, right? Because we know that piece is like a solid piece of wood, so it's clearly going to snap back into place. He's in a pose that implies a shift in balance, correct? Little
Yes.
Ken Griffey Jr. image here. because it's a Mariners Day. I even dressed for it. But we can see we've kind of stopped the bat in the middle of its motion. The ball is stopped in the middle of its motion, and we can feel that it's going to, the two are going to meet. The blur in both the bat and in the ball make us feel that way.
They already met.
What's that? They have not already met.
Well, his form's kind of off. Then looks kind of awkward.
There is nothing awkward about Ken Griffey Jr.'s swing. No, because the bat is still behind him. The bat will come through the batter's box and meet the ball in about a nanosecond.
I guess my brain was just thinking that he was swinging from the right to the left, not the left to right.
From the right to the left.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bat's coming from the right-hand side of the image and coming to the left.
Whatever.
In case you haven't gathered, this slideshow is pretty much derived entirely of things that Mike thought were cool when he was 12. Just so you know. So this is Michael Jordan. We all know what's happening next, I think. Ever seen a Gatorade commercial? Okay, repetition. So with repetition has rhythm. Rhythm has motion. And also, just a repeated object is going to feel like it has motion besides that point. But the rhythm, that sense of rhythm and that sense of motion are really kind of intrinsically linked. Does this have any motion for you? Does it have any rhythm?
A little bit. Kind of looks like it's going from side to side.
Yeah, you can almost feel the guy's brushstrokes. You can almost feel Robert Motherwell's brushstrokes. How about here, though? This is Marcel Duchamp's Nude Descending a Staircase. And we get, via repetition, just that we can feel something coming down, although staircase maybe isn't the first thing that comes to mind, and maybe not a woman. But we definitely feel that something is going from the top left and going down to the bottom right. This is like my favorite painting of all time.
Oh my God.
Just so you know, it's Giacomo Balla's Dynamism of a Dog on a Leash. And just the repeated feet and that tail on the leash all indicate that there's a whole lot of energy pumping out of that little Dachshund. And it's awesome. Also, the series of lines that kind of sunburst from the left and through to the right make us feel more so like there is movement towards that way. Balla was one of the futurists. Okay, optical movement. Optical movement involves optical illusion. So it's those pieces that have an equivocal sense of space that we kind of look at and our eyes pop back and forth and we see it going towards us or going away from us, depending on how we look at it. Like, yay. So this is a piece from an Ed Emberley book, I believe. Why is Jackson Pollock in here? Oh my Lord. Let's get out of here. Blurred figures or lines of force and movement. All right, so this is an Umberto Boccioni. He did that piece earlier in the semester with the two horses in the city. So we get a bunch of repetition with the dogs and the horses. The wheels are clearly spinning due to the lines around it, and they kind of fuzzed out color around the wheels. And we get kind of some motion lines that go opposite of the, like, perpendicular to the line of the fence. So that kind of really heightens our sense of moving away from it. Also, that's a really smart fox. Okay, so here's another Boccioni. And this piece, it's a guy on a bicycle, and it's pretty much all about the forest lines, right? You can sort of feel how it's like the biker is kind of cramming into that V or an arrow. Does it feel more or less speedy to you here? Which one feels faster?
The first one.
The first one? Do you think it's the arrow? Do you think it's the thinness of the strokes? What do you think it is?
I think for me it's the thinner lines.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that because the thin lines give you more points to perceive moving, that you start to feel that movement more. But it's interesting too that in the second one, in this one, the force, that V is emphasized so much. So it's more about like running into something almost. So there's a lot of tension there. Okay, here's another Umberto Boccioni. This is called The City Rises, and it's a couple guys trying to get a team of horses to settle down. But we can kind of feel like all of these energetic brushstrokes moving throughout the piece, and really creating some tension. You need to say hi. Come here.
She was just sitting on the table without her pants on.
Yep.
Trying to eat my breakfast. She picks my toast up,
Oh,
rubs it
is it
on
picking
her,
you up? There you are.
She rubs it on her vagina and then tries to hand it back to me.
Oh, dope. Okay, wave to everybody in the kingdom. Can you wave? Can you wave? It's Maya. And that's Glenn. Oh, Paris is gone. Uh-oh. Where did Paris go? Okay, I have to get back to my lecture, all right, sweetie? Can you say goodbye? No? Okay. Oh. So, funny side note, I saw on Twitter the other day a pie chart, and it was like basically a checklist of things that you're gonna see during a Zoom meeting. And one of them was like a cat on a keyboard. One of them was another parent running in to like take a child out of a room. Just like thought about the number of things that I actually totally have submitted my students to. So anyhow, sorry about that. Although her mug's a lot better looking than mine. Anyway, so this is another Umberto Boccioni. The futurists, there weren't a ton of futurists, but the futurists really kind of were into this idea of creating motion through repetition. So you can kind of feel like these characters moving through, I don't know, it feels like a really green, murky rain or something. I think these images might have been from a series about Dante, about Dante's Inferno, though I can't entirely recall. Should look that up. Oop. Okay, cropped figures. Well, let's just show you. So the more we crop in on a figure within a painting or within a photograph or even in a film still, the more we get this sense that they're really embodying that space. And if they're doing something that implies movement, if they're in a position that looks like it has movement, that becomes we feel that motion more. Like we can feel this woman spinning out of frame and into frame. We can feel this woman starting off to the left and then going off frame. In cartoons, they very much use, if something is going up and into space, we see the bottom half of the characters cut off. Similarly, if we want the characters to feel like they're falling, we see the top half of them cut off and the bottom half is coming into the center. Okay, here's where the lesson gets kind of silly. So hopefully Paris is back because he'll enjoy this.
I am. Just got back.
All right. Okay, so comics in motion. So this is a little bit weird because I can't see your faces because I'm looking at the slideshow as I go through it. But I'm gonna ask you guys to talk through what devices you think they're using in order to imply motion here. Well, in the next series of images. So go. And there was silence.
Well, I missed so much of the lecture. I don't even know what vocabulary to use.
Like, do we have motion lines in this image? Do we
Yeah,
have
there's
implied motion? Do we have we stopped in the middle of a motion? Are the characters going out of frame? What devices are we using to
the
imply
characters
motion?
are going out of frame, or they're being pushed out of frame, and the lines are definitely emphasizing motion. It's implied for sure.
Okay.
What is the technical term for like the lines around his fists?
The lines of emphasis.
Emphasis. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. How about here?
Motion lines, lines of emphasis, kind of.
And are we seeing all of Superman?
No, I guess he's going out of frame, yeah.
Okay. And also, one of the most important devices in illustration to really imply motion, we have that implied line from Batman's eyes. We follow his gaze, comes down to Superman's eyes, which are, well, we're not really seeing his eyes, but his eye gaze would still be looking out of frame. We have Superman occupying a perpendicular to Batman's gaze. And then we have the parallels of Batman's fist and arm to Superman's shoulders. So all of this is structurally feeling really locked in place, but like we're moving from left to right. Well, top left to bottom right.
Mm-hmm.
How about here?
No motion lines.
No motion lines. Do you feel like there's movement though?
Yep. Twalk really helps.
Walk does help. Is it partially because of perception though? Because we tell by the twalk and also by the fist and the jaw that there was a punch, right?
Yeah, and the balance of both of
Yeah.
them.
The implied line between Scarlet Witch's right arm and it being parallel to both of Rogue's arms.
Yeah, it really emphasizes that left to right movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Excellent. Like I said, man, this is an homage to everything I loved when I was 12. Uh, so, what's happening here?
He's punching Asian Hitler, you know?
Yeah, you know.
Did you say Asian
How's the
Hitler?
motion happening though? Are there motion lines?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there lines of emphasis?
Yes. Well,
How about the
yes.
gazes?
Yep.
They're parallel, right? And
Mhm.
the Raphael's gaze is looking down his arm, and we're also using a little bit of scale here too, by bringing his upper body a little bit closer in the upper right hand corner and making his fist drift into the image. We can kind of feel it, feel some depth. We can feel it moving away from us, right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Same thing is happening in this image as is happening in the Scarlet Witch and Rogue image.
Mhm.
hmm And then this one's just silly. The character's falling out of the screen. There's lines of emphasis. There's the word sock, which in some cases might mean that you need to put your socks on, but not here. But if you have a 2-year-old, that's what sock means. All right. What's happening with our friend Wiley?
He dropped something.
Did he? Or is he trying to achieve his balance?
Oh yeah, I guess that could be the case.
Looks
too.
like he's about to fall over.
He's off.
He was probably chasing the Roadrunner and stopped before he went off the cliff, so it's not like Scooby-Doo for the first time.
So, do we feel an anticipated motion with Wile E. Coyote? We have an idea of what he was doing beforehand. And we have an idea what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But in these Warner Brother cartoons, they always like to play with our sensibilities too. So like, we'll feel like he's going to fall, but actually, what happens is the cliff falls off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. So here we know he's going to fall because he's standing in the middle of the air. He was running, and yeah, now we start laughing. How about here? What's going on with this one?
He's going fast.
How do we know he's going fast?
Because he's on a rocket.
So we perceive that he's going fast because he's on a rocket. What else buys into that?
His ears are like pointed back, so it looks like he's moving.
And the flames on the back of the rocket.
And is his body parallel to the rocket?
Yes,
Mhm.
for the most part.
We kind of make two arrows, right? His snout makes an arrow, and the rocket makes an arrow. Okay, I'm gonna post these to the lesson page rather than watching them right now. These are. This last one is a Marcel Duchamp and Salvador Dali piece. It's a little bit weird. These are Edward Muybridge. Edward Muybridge was a photographer. Well, he was one of the first photographers working out of San Francisco, and then later a little bit more south in California. And he's kind of like one of the precursors to film. So anyway, he would take photographs of people walking or a bird flying or a horse running, but he would take a photograph after a photograph after a photograph after a photograph. So they ended up being kind of like a stop motion. But before there was this idea of what a stop motion was. So that's why he's important. I don't want to play this thing. This is one of my favorites. This is Robin Road. He's a South African artist. I love all the build up for this.
Me.
Right? I love that it takes him like twice as long to draw it as it does for him to fall off his skateboard. That is what building a half pipe is. So here's another Robin Road. This one he's got a brick flag, or I think he calls it stone flag. Yeah, there you go. There's the stills. I saw a big show of Robin Road's work in the IPA, and it really will blow you away, actually. It's let some of that Bossa Nova seep in. If you weren't happy with the song, you soon will be. All right, we're not gonna watch Blue today because he's creepy, but it's good. I'll post it for you to watch. Both of those are like so creepy. Okay. I want to show you your assignment. Where is it? Blackboard page. Okay, here we go. All right. So your project 12, the illusion of motion. Thomas isn't here, but hey, check it out. I already did the discussion board this time. Hooray!
Woo!
Sorry, guys. I'm getting used to this online teaching thing. All right.
Just in time for the end of the
goal.
semester.
Stop laughing at me.
No, he's teaching a summer course. He's teaching a
All right.
summer course.
So your goal on this assignment is to create the feeling and illusion of movement through either a single composition, an animated flip book, a rotoscope, or a sequence of images like in a comic book or storyboard. Stop motion may also be explored. Discuss this option with the professor first. You should still call me Mike and not professor. Anyway, so guidelines, select your media and gather the supplies. Can I just say that for this one, especially since you're all home, so you can probably find some interesting stuff to work with, I would really like you to avoid the single composition option for this assignment. I'd like you to try a flip book or a rotoscope or a stop motion. And honestly, just do the stop motion if you want to do a stop motion. I don't really care if you tell me. Just like, I'm going to assume like right off the bat that half of you are going to do that because it's fun. And that's cool with me. So you're going to select your media and gather your supplies. And then just try to think about what sort of motion you want to make. Try to have an idea in mind of what it looks like when you're doing it. So like if you're trying to do a bird's wings who are flapping, like really try to think about like, okay, what does it look like at the top? What does it look like at the bottom? Okay, I have those 2 points, but like now in the middle, like what does it actually end up looking like? Does it change shape? Is there like a difference? Like, is there some kind of weird foreshortening that's going on that I wasn't thinking about when I was just thinking about it, moving it first, right? Because I think we all have this like image in our head of like what it looks like when a car is rolling down the street, but does it like actually look like it changes shape? Like I think it does, like we're looking at something from the front of the car, right? And then we're looking at it change to this like 3/4 view. Then we're looking at it from a profile view, and then the opposite of that, right? So like in order for it to really feel like it's moving, we kind of have to exemplify that if we're using stop motion in a stop motion, or if we're using other means, just like be thinking about that so we really show the angles that make the most sense to really imply our movement. Okay? Did that confuse things, or did that kind of make sense?
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Okay, cool. Yay. So your materials, you're welcome to use just about anything you like. Yes, you can use photography and digital means on this. I don't want you making an animation that you need to use like tweens or anything like that, though. Like, but if you want to, take a bunch of photographs and then piece them together so that they make a stop motion animation, that's fine. Okay? Or if you want to make a bunch of drawings, do the same thing. That's totally cool.
I just got good at Adobe After Effects.
What's that?
I just got good at Adobe After Effects, so I'm kind of sad now.
Yeah, I don't no After Effects, man. I don't like After Effects.
Blame Rachel. No.
What's that?
Blame Rachel.
No, I won't blame Rachel for anything.
Hmm.
She's been too helpful
Blame
with me
Corey.
throughout my life at SMCC. All right,
Honestly,
so submitting work, I'd like you to go ahead and submit it right here. Written portion, I want you to explain how your project effectively expresses and supports the concept of motion. So I want you to be thinking about, while you're making your piece, what you're doing and what steps that you're using to create motion. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Are there any questions?
Nope.
No? Okay. We'll stop the share. Stop share. Hey, how's it going?
How do we if we're gonna do a flip book, how do we should we take a video of it and post it in the
Yeah, I would basically do the flip book and have your boyfriend stand over your shoulder or something and just photograph it. If you wanted to also take some photographs or images of a couple stills of it so that we could see those along with it, that'd be great, because the flip book might not translate so well online. I'm not sure. It might be hard to get a good angle, so it makes sense, right? But yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay.
Wait, there's more images of the This Is Fine dog? Jenna,
Yeah.
you're blowing my mind.
Except it's on fire. It's fire now.
That's awesome. Are there any other questions or any other issues with any of your work? Have any of you started your paper?
Yes.
No.
Yes, no.
I will
if
start
you
it
want,
very
I didn't start it, but I started research or looking at it.
Totally.
Started thinking about
if you
starting
have
it.
anything together and you're close to a point where I can see it, I would love for you. Hi, Jenna. I will address it as soon as I'm done with my thought. I would like to see it sooner than later so I can give you some feedback, so you know if you're on the right path before you write 4 more pages or whatever. Okay?
I wrote mine. All I have to do is add my bibliography and
Well, then
mark
send it on over. You don't have to have the bibliography in your rough draft.
Yeah, I'll email that to you.
Awesome. What were you gonna ask, Jenna?
You already answered it.
Awesome. Any other questions?
So with the paper, do you want us to send it as a file that has the images of the artwork in that folder, or do you want me to add links to the images, or?
I think links would be fine. You don't necessarily need to put it into the file, although honestly, it wouldn't hurt anything to put it in the file. It's not like you have to print it.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else?
No.
All right. It's good to see all of you. You're beautiful. I wish you were in front of me and we could hang out for 2.5 hours on Tuesday and Thursday mornings. So I miss you. I hope that someday SMCC is again doing in-person classes, so that this isn't the all the time norm instead of the new norm. Um, but take it easy. Let me know if any of you are having any kinds of difficulties doing anything, and we'll chat about deadlines, etc. I get it. Like everybody's kind of going out of their heads. Okay.
So when is the last official day of this class? I can't
It's
remember.
it says that the class ends on the 9th of May. So my grades will be due on the 11th of May. So if you get everything in by the 9th of May, then we're chill in my mind. I'd just like to make sure that I have the day to grade on the 10th, so that I'm not like rushing to get it all done before 5 o'clock on Monday the 11th. So
Cool.
you have until the 9th. It would be awesome if you got it in before then, but I get it.
I think a lot of my classes are ending like a week early, so I'll
Really?
probably only because we just have like final like papers and stuff. There's not much to do.
Yeah. Well, the last week we don't really need to meet in this class per se, unless you want to chat about your homework from the week prior. Like you'll just have that final project. Okay. But I'll probably meet with you either Tuesday or Thursday that week and just chat a little bit about your work from the week prior so that we can get a little bit of feedback on that.
Do you still want me to send you the scans of those? I scanned one of them. I remember you had said you wanted to put it in your teaching portfolio.
I very much would like you to do that, please.
Okay, cool. I scanned one already, but I can scan the other ones.
Awesome. Thank you. And you guys want to do 10:30 on Thursday morning?
Sure.
All right with me.
Sounds good.
Awesome. We'll chat about those last rounds of pieces, okay?
Okay.
And I've been trying to get your grades up to date. You should be probably getting some notifications that you got some grades going in. I'm sorry if it feels like it's a whirlwind. I promise I'm taking more time than like 30 seconds between pieces. All right. But the
Alright.
actual entry is pretty quick once you've given people their grades. All right. I will chat with you guys soon. You take care, all right?
Yeah.
You too. Peace.
Stay fresh, cheese bags.